I remember when the web first was established, this was a big hope that it could help democracy. And I think we've seen that it does help democracy for those people that don't have any, through Egypt, for example. And in our case, it could certainly help us by having more voices heard. And then the rest would be a matter of negotiation between the different voices. And we need to build a political culture and understanding of how to work with each other instead of fighting, both here in Canada and around the world.
Okay, so first question, do we live in a democracy?
I have the right to vote. I just voted, so I'd say yes.
Given the right to vote for different parties, yes. However,
you have the right to elect and in many ways deselect your political leader.
Things like freedom of assembly, freedom of speech.
One which is not necessarily reflective of the will of the people, but does provide solid governance based on the system that we have.
However, them following through on their platform, not so much.
So why is it important to vote?
I feel that if I didn't vote, I wouldn't have a right to complain.
Who will be elected depends on your single vote, right?
How many people are actually sacrificing their lives for a privilege that we have and sometimes we take for granted.
Even if you spoil your ballot, you should vote.
And it's up to people to exercise their right to vote. If they don't vote, you ultimately won't have that right down the road.
For federal, it's fairly important because these are the people who set interest rates for the country. These are the people who are going to decide whether we go to war or not. These are the people who are going to control the general levers to decide how much employment is going to be created, and are also going to determine how much money can be allocated to programs under provincial jurisdiction through health and social transfers. So it's very, very important.
We're the ones supposed to vote our deputy and stuff. So every Canadian should come here and vote.
And do you feel represented by our elected representatives?
Yeah, not really, no. Mostly I just voted for someone else so that the other people didn't get in. So I went today because I guess it was the lesser of the three evils, as I like to put it.
Here in Ottawa-Centre, the MPs that we have voted it in the last few times have represented my beliefs pretty well, so I've gotten lucky in that regard. I think that probably is not the case in all ridings in Canada.
I find a lot of people want to vote a certain way and know they're not going to win, so they just settle for one of the two parties that always do win.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're not really having a choice. People just give up.
Yeah.
I think that there could be a lot of electoral reforms that could be implemented to try and improve it, maybe reflect a little bit more of the popular will or general popular sentiment.
We should fix our system so that members of parliament actually do represent us and every vote counts, which isn't the case with the first past the post voting.
Is there anything citizens can do between elections to influence policy decisions?
I don't really know. I'm sure there's some way of forum you can have your voice heard, but I don't really know.
It doesn't depend on the citizen. It depends on who the elected members. So they are our representatives. So we do not handle directly inside the parliament. So yeah, we can raise our concerns to our local MP and let them do in parliament and let them fight for us. There's the only one way right now.
Well, you can go to all the rallies you want and sign all the petitions you want and try and make a voice that way. Is it going to necessarily change anything? Not necessarily, but at least you can feel like you've tried rather than doing nothing.
And if you're passionate about a certain cause, join an organization that supports that cause and then go out and do the things that organization does in your community, and those things are the way that you get civically involved and the way you get involved in democracy, because you have that right to be involved in those things. So exercise your right and do the things you're passionate about. You don't have to be passionate about politics, be passionate about the issues, and really those issues are supported by politics. So in a roundabout way, you're still participating, and I think that's really important.
One of the fundamental things that people often forget about the parliamentary system that we use is that regardless of whether you voted for that candidate or not, they are still your representative, and no matter what, they are still going to take your interests and your needs into consideration when they are voting on different issues. So long as you're there, so long as you're vocal, so long as you're writing them letters, emails, whatever it might be, that's the most important thing that a citizen can do.
Canadians need to be talking to their members of parliament or members of provincial parliaments. I've met with my member of parliament a number of different times, and so they know what my views are, and hopefully my views are shared. Sometimes that's not always the case, but yeah, I think it shouldn't be just about election day or the 2 weeks leading up to it. I think it should be all the time.
You know, or
so you don't see things that you could do right now in between voting? And sorry, I'm curious about your answer.
Well, different issues come up in Parliament, and I think sometimes, you know, especially if there's a big divide, you know, they should ask the Canadian people, right? Mm-hmm. See what they think, factor it in, right?
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
In addition to voting for people or parties during elections, would you also like to have a chance to vote directly on the issues as they come up in Parliament?
Yeah, directly on the issues, that would be amazing.
Because I know historically in the past, certain people did vote on issues back in the time of Romans, but we're obviously a bigger society now, Harry.
You can't vote on every single issue. That's why you have representatives. It's not practical, and probably would drive us mad if we had to go down and vote every week. People don't even like doing it more than once every 3, 4, 5 years. So
we could exercise our votes for specific issues by using the internet.
Countries like Brazil, they have what's called the Porto Alegre model, where citizens can go in and actually vote line by line on each of the municipal budgets items. And so that's a very, very effective way, but there's a trade-off between efficiency and there is a trade-off between efficiency and democracy in a lot of ways, because there is a lot of processes that are required in order to make those referendums work, and it definitely does slow down the implementation process. So you need to find the proper balance.
If you had it available on the internet, more people would. I mean, people are on the internet every day, right? So
Yes, because here, for example, here we vote only once, and then in the future, after 3-4 months, it will be many decisions that the person that we voted will have to choose, and somehow we are not part of it. We believe you're gonna be a good person. You're gonna follow what you told that we're gonna do, but afterward, it's only happened once, and we can't control you anymore. I think it would be easier if we vote in many issues, if possible. Yeah.
I'll be paying it as well.
Okay, wait, so what? That's it? This is what we call democracy? We citizens come out to vote once every 4 years or so. We protest or write letters to our MPs when we disagree with them, and the rest of the time we're expected to sit back and watch politics like it was a spectator sport? Is this really what democracy was meant to be? Well, maybe before we had the internet.
I mean, the government should be a cooperative. It is all of us working together to make things easier for everyone. And if we're not doing that, we're losing. But now we see the government as some other body. We see it as, it's the government. It's something else. It's not us. So we're definitely not represented.